My guest this week is Andrew Evans, and I'm proud to be talking with him because he's written, well, actually, Denise Austin has written this book about the story of his life, and we'll put the links under this video, and I recommend that everybody read it. It's a fantastic story of Australian history, and generations from now we'll be talking about the legacy and the achievements that Andrew Evans achieved in Australia. And it's our pleasure to chat with him today. Now, we've just mentioned how you started the Family First Party and achieved that. We're now at the point where Family First has agreed to merge with the new party started by Cory Bernardi. Mm-hmm. Get into that in a minute, but tell me about what else Family First achieved as a political party prior to this merger and after your career in the upper house of the South Australian Parliament?
We were constantly putting bills up to lessen abortion, to deal with moral issues when they ever came up, and every time we were able to block those things. But with Cory, he was always a friend of Family First. From the moment Dennis Hood got elected in 2006.
To the upper house in South Australia?
And the first person to ring him was Cory to congratulate him. And he had that friendship with Dennis for all those years. We actually said to him, don't leave the Liberals, because your being in there is able to be a voice for the conservative values in the party, in the net. But he got so frustrated that he eventually left, and he began to talk to us, and we began to talk to him, and seeing our values were almost identical in many, many areas, most areas, and seeing Dennis and him were so close as friends, we thought, why not pull together the two parties and really make a force in politics in Australia. He's a very good man up front, and he's a very good leader. He has credibility, and already they're saying our numbers are climbing through the merger.
That's awesome. Something that impresses me is the humility that it takes to lay aside the brand that you've built, which is the name Family First. There's a lot of minor parties on the right, a lot more than are on the left. And none of them seem to be able to achieve any great significant influence, presence in the upper house. There's been a couple of senators in the federal parliament, and there's been some elected members around for Family First, but of all the other parties, other than perhaps Fred Nile, it's not nowhere near the kind of impact and momentum that the Greens have achieved as a minor party on the left. And it seems like the things that divide the minor parties on the right are actually very tiny. They have so much in common, and it's been a case of divided and conquered.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why they haven't done a lot of things together is perhaps a sense of control, but certainly a sense of ego. And so it impresses me that Family First has unanimously said amongst all its states and federal executives, yep, we'll put aside our party and we'll join forces with Cory's party. Can you tell me a bit about how that was?
Well, it's not about us. It's about the issues. And if you've got any concerning about the issues, you join forces with like-minded people so you can make an impact. And to me, it was I thought, well, I'd done what I was elected for. We'd done our thing there. Cory now stood up for our values the same, so why not join forces? Now, the others, it's up to them what they do, but all I can say to them that you're wasting a lot of money, a lot of effort. Why don't you join the Conservatives, and we're all on the same page. Let's fight for our values before the Greenies and the other lefties change our country so it's irreversible.
Yeah, well said. It's what do you think the hope is for the major parties? We're now 70 years after Robert Menzies gave his speech about the forgotten people, and at that stage he was issuing a call to the conservative right-wing parties of the day saying you've lost your way. Is it deja vu? Is it exactly the same? And is it the time for the major party to move out of the road and for the right to be reinvented? Or is there hope to save the Liberal National Coalition?
Well, I hope so. I hope they do. But look, all around the world, there is a move away from the left. And you have what happened in America. No one predicted. They're all saying it won't happen. Our commentators around Australia just bagged him day and night. But he got there because the average ordinary person was jack of what was going on with these lefty agendas. And same in England with the Brexit. And there is this movement away from this goals of the lefties, which they think are marvellous and it's going to save the world, as normal people are putting their heads together and seeing how flawed it is. And it doesn't work. And so there's a movement away, and I think that's going to happen with the major parties in Australia. And if the major parties like the Liberals don't catch up to that move, they will be put on the sideline. Now, the Labor Party have moved worse. When I got into Parliament, there was the right wing of the Labor were my values all the way. And I preference the Labor right-wingers in their seats. But they've also shifted, and Shorten's made it compulsory that they have to vote for gay marriage and taken away the conscience of these people. So they're moving that far, and Australia's jack of it, and they're going to be surprised at the next election.
How well do you think Cory is going to... How well do you think his party, the Australian Conservatives, is going to do at the next federal election?
Well, it certainly gets South Australia back, maybe two back. But there's possibilities in the other states as well. Good possibilities, because there's such an interest from the right wing of both sides that are sort of talking and looking, showing some interest, that I think unless Liberal come back to their roots, they will lose thousands. They've lost 1 million people to Pauline Hanson because she's putting an agenda for the right up. And they'll lose more, and they'll lose their position unless they change tact.
Is Pauline Hanson a Conservative?
Look, Pauline Hanson is a very interesting person. She's got the right heart, a good heart, and she's very strong and outspoken, and she holds to those things. Unfortunately, as I've watched her career, she's had people leech onto her, and they have helped bring her down. I was very careful of that. The moment I got elected, I got people from everywhere around Australia wanting to join the party. And I said, let's wait a year. Wait a minute, I want to get where I'm going. I want to find out what I'm going. And I began to find that some of them were just leeches and just want to jump on the bandwagon. And I was able to sort it out. I was able to have a constitution that kept them out. And we just kept a steady flow from then. And all told, in Australia, people don't realise this, but we've had 8 members of Parliament in 4 states. So now with the Cory addition and all that infrastructure, they'll be surprised where we go.
Awesome. Well, in the next segment, let's talk about the role that the church and Christianity has in Australian culture and politics. Thanks for watching. If you really enjoyed that video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Have a look at this great video next, and check out the website for even more interesting articles and episodes later.